Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Okay, glad everybody's here. I hope you're having a safe weekend while you're out shopping. It really was nice here today. Sunny, and it was just a little cold, but it was no wind, so that made it easier to deal with. So But everybody was out today. My God, I mean, I didn't go shopping, but I went out to get something to eat for lunch, and Jesus, I mean, every damn restaurant just... I went to Brewer just to try to avoid that, and even in Brewer, all these places were full of cars. Jeez, you know, and so, yeah, it's busy. And like I said, the closer we get to Christmas, the busier things are going to be until the day after Christmas, when everybody returns everything that they bought. So you got that happens, which I'll never understand why people do that, but they do. You know, it's just like, you know, you spend all that time buying gifts, and then you give them, and then they take the fucking gifts and then they return them or whatever. It's like, you know, fuck you. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know. It's a crazy time of the year. So I got a couple of videos, and one of them, this is going to be the first one here, is from iHip podcast, and they're talking about Mitch McConnell for one thing, and some other things, law enforcement, stuff like that, and you know, the FBI director stepping down. You know, so there's a lot of different things in this video, but you know, it's a pretty interesting little conversation. Lasts about, you know, 17 minutes, I think. So let's go to the video, and then we will talk on the other side of that.
To iHip News. Today we have a special in-studio guest, my husband, criminal defense attorney Josh Welch, and he is visiting with us today because Pumps is taking her kids on a holiday vacation, and he will be her substitute. We know it is hard to replace the star of our show, iHip News, but he's going to do his best. Now on with the news. Christopher Wray pre-surrenders to Trumpism. Let's take a listen to this clip and get everybody to weigh in.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day. And in my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important in how we do our work.
Okay, knowing that Kash Patel is sitting on deck and he's talking about, quote, the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray, what is your take on this, Pumps?
I think this is the most chicken shit, cowardly bullshit move I've ever seen. He, as we all remember, was a Trump appointee. It makes me think there's something going on behind the scenes with the Kash Patel can't get confirmed, so we're going to do a recess appointment. And if he's already out, we need an FBI director. I mean, I think there's some real maybe not conspiracy, but there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because this is an absurd thing to do, particularly in the mindset of, I want to protect the integrity of the Bureau.
Josh?
He sprinkles all these words like integrity as if he cares about the legacy of the FBI. This is the same man that when Justice Kavanaugh was going through the confirmation appointment, helped assist to suppress 4,000 or 5,000 calls that came in about Justice Kavanaugh's character. So for him to use these words like integrity and deeper into the fray and honor, and it's pretty rich. It's pretty rich for a guy like that to say these things and be embedded in all of this bullshit cover up. He should have stepped down, frankly, and resigned years ago. And I do want to add a disclaimer to all of my opinions. I'm not fair. I'm not impartial. I'm none of those things. I don't think that he was ever really the right person for this job, to make hard decisions and to set aside politics. So to say it's rich, it's really, like Pump said, chicken shit.
Well, and let's remember, prior to Christopher Wray's appointment, we had James Comey, who completely politicized the 2016 election. So there's no question the FBI, as Josh is saying, when they talk about integrity and preserving the institution, is somewhat rich. But when you think about what James Comey did and what a grandstander, show off, I mean, pick me, the news, look at me type guy he was, and the damage that he did. And then to Josh's point about Christopher Wray being complicit in a lot of Trump's biggest missteps is so worrisome. Covering up the Brett Kavanaugh stuff is insane. But, we talk about on iHip News all the time, why do the Republicans, dismiss all of these sexual abuse allegations? To me, it looks like because the majority of the people that they appoint find themselves involved in sexual abuse allegations. And so that's from, who Trump is appointing now all the way down. So it's very disturbing.
It's sound clips like that make people hate politics, bureaucracy. When they start sprinkling all these words like integrity, it's all just bullshit. It's bullshit. It's a grandstanding way of standing up and saying, hey, I'm a good person. The Bureau's good. We did good work. And it makes people who are somewhat objective about the FBI and what it does, it makes them want to vomit, because we all know it's bullshit.
Do you guys think this is a pre-surrender on his part?
I 100% think it's a pre-surrender, and I think it's calculated with the Trump team behind the scenes.
I want to know why it didn't happen during Biden's administration. He should have stepped down. He was ineffective 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm really more curious, why is he still there?
Well, what do you think about, all in all, I mean, the Justice Department's performance during Biden's term has been lackluster, to say the least? In my line of work, I'm not a huge fan of the Department of Justice and government overreaches. So I've never been a fan of Christopher Wray. The only thing you can ask from our perspective is that if you say something, your words mean something. When they're investigating Justice Kavanaugh's prior allegations of sexual abuse, you would think a law enforcement agency would have some integrity, would actually do their job. But they don't. They suppress to political pressures. And that's where you hear speeches like this that are just a little bit too rich. It's just too much bullshit. If you're going to say those things, then act that way.
Right.
Do those things.
But let's go to the larger point of Biden's Justice Department, Merrick Garland, FBI, and how they handled the Department of Justice after January 6th and after it was discovered that Trump stole classified documents.
Well, most administrations, when you had a previous administration try to overthrow the government, literally have perpetrators rush the Capitol with violent intentions. And then you appoint, as a new incoming president, someone to lead the Department of Justice. You would think, at a minimum, that would be a top priority to investigate that and to charge the appropriate people. And for some reason, years went by in President Biden's administration. Nothing happened. That's frustrating. That's maddening. Part of that is why we're in the situation that we're in, is because of someone's inability to make hard decisions and do their job. And this was a layup.
I couldn't agree more. I think the Merrick Garland failure as the U.S. Attorney General will go down in history as one of the biggest and most damaging of any AG to serve, because to Josh's point, this was not something they uncovered halfway through Biden's term. This is not something that the January 6th Select Committee stumbled upon and just found in the recesses of the Capitol. This was on TV. Everybody saw it. Classified documents in the toilet at Mar-a-Lago. Everybody saw that. Nobody moved on these things quickly. Finally, they get somebody like Jack Smith. Jack Smith should have been appointed January 21st, 2021, in my opinion. We wouldn't be in this mess. Trump wouldn't be. He would be in jail rightly where he belongs.
We're watching the insurrection in real time, and you're watching people storm the Capitol. And it doesn't take a lot of intellect to figure out that, hey, somebody has told law enforcement and or the military to stand down and let this happen. That doesn't require a lot of knowledge to see that as it's happening, to understand that. So then the next question is, who did that? Who instructed the military and or security and or Capitol Police not to be there? And what's that about? And it doesn't take 2 years if I'm on my sofa watching it in real time, seeing that happen. It doesn't take 2 years to figure that out. We could all figure that out instantly. It was clear everybody was told to lay down, to not be there, to not provide support. And it's maddening.
Okay, now I want to move on to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell had recently did an interview where he says America is in a very dangerous world. And this goes to a point that after January 6th, you saw the narrative shift to where people started rubber stamping it, a lot of revisionist history, calling it a dust up. And Mitch McConnell had an opportunity to end Trumpism, and he didn't, twice during both of Trump's impeachment hearings. And now he is sounding the alarm bells and worried about Trump and talking about his slogan and saying it's reminiscent of 1930s Nazi Germany. While at the same time, he says, I voted for the Republican ticket. I voted for Trump. And so the headlines are, here's Huffington Post, Mitch McConnell says Trump win puts Americans in a very dangerous world. And my question to you all is, this headline is so disingenuous, in my opinion, because literally a month ago, he's talking about how he's supporting the Republican ticket. And this duplicity, I think, has caused Trump to get away with crime after crime after crime, the sane washing in the media, even from a left-leaning outlet like the Huffington Post. Why don't we have the word hypocrite? Mitch McConnell sounds like he regrets his vote, ? Something to let the reader understand that this is a complete 180 with his voting record, with his inability to properly impeach Trump for an insurrection. What's your take on this?
I think the headline should be Mitch McConnell's inability to stand up to Trump and be complicit in this puts America in a very dangerous world.
I absolutely agree with that. I like it. I mean, there is no bigger hypocrite on the planet. Mr. I have so much power in the Senate. You did fucking nothing for America. You did nothing for your constituents, but they don't seem to care. So that's a story for another day. But the fact that he went on and on about Trump's involvement in January 6th and did not vote to impeach him, he sucks. And he needs to sit down and shut the fuck up because it's too late. You don't get to to be the hero now. You don't get to sound the alarms now. Why weren't you talking about this during the election? Why didn't you impeach him when you had the chance? Because you care more about your power and your standing than you do, A, your wife, who he was racist towards, and B, the American people. So my feeling for Mitch McConnell is sit down, shut up.
Can't you just draw the parallels between that and Christopher Wray and what he's saying, and you just see their inability to just simply be honest? You get up and you can just say things, nuance things, and use these words when you're just lying. You know, and that's the problem with politics. People hear these speeches or they hear these things, and you become so numb to the fact that they're just full of shit. They don't stand up. I would much rather someone, even with whom I disagree politically, have a backbone and a spine and a belief system and stand up for that belief system and not compromise that, as opposed to someone like Mitch McConnell or Christopher Wray, who get up and say these things, make these feel-good speeches or sound the alarm bells, when in fact they've been part of the problem the entire fucking time. They're in it with everybody and they own it.
Well, I think that this is exactly why people like Trump, because he says all the crazy stuff, he doubles down on it, he triples down on it, and for a lot of Americans that don't pay very close attention to the 24-hour news cycle, they see him as their fighter. Okay, now onto some salacious news. You all have probably seen the video of Trump at the Notre Dame. And sources are claiming, I don't know if this is true or not. So he's sitting in the front row by himself, and all of these French people are giving him very French, snotty, judgy looks, right? And they're claiming that Trump shit himself at the Notre Dame. And we all know that he has bowel problems. This was reported during his trial, where he was found guilty of 34 felonies. And apparently he wears diapers and he shit himself in the Notre Dame. And that's why everybody's giving him the stink eye. What are your thoughts on that? I believe it.
I believe it too. First of all we hear from people who've ever been around him is he stinks to high heaven. Shitting himself would just be right on par with him. And here's the thing. I just don't understand why the people in his inner circle don't help him with that. I guess it goes back to the makeup not blending. Like, we've got to change your diaper before you go in public. We've got to clean your bottom up. You smell. But I completely believe it.
We all know that there's not a shortage of people around Trump that will wipe his ass.
That's right. Exactly right.
So why can't somebody provide that service for him in a time of need, like when he's in France visiting this historic site? If in fact that's true, he needs one of those individuals that is there at his beck and call to clean up his shit, literally.
I agree. He's surrounded by a lot of ass wipers, ass kissers. There is no reason whatsoever that the president-elect of the United States of America needs to sit in the Notre Dame getting the stink eye from a lot of snotty French people, which I support the snotty French, 100%. FYI. But that he's sitting there in his diaper, soiled, humiliated, and embarrassed. But anyway, I think that's all we have for today, guys. We will see you all tomorrow.
It's so
Yeah. And President Don shits his pants, huh? Goes to France and he's gassing everybody while he's there. No respect. No fucking respect, okay? You know, I have to think, all those rallies he went to, how many times did he unload while he was up there talking bullshit, and he was shitting himself while he was bullshitting everything? You know what I'm saying? God. And this is who they wanted for president. I mean, is there any more things about this guy that we that are negative that we need to know about? I don't think anybody could tolerate any more finding out any more things in this guy's closet, because right now, you know, MAGA is sort of having a meltdown right now, and it's all over the fucking internet of these MAGA people are turning on each other. They're bitching about Trump. They're mad at that he lied. They're mad about, he's backpedaling on things he said he was going to do. You know, all these things that everybody was clapping and applauding that he was saying at these rallies, all of a sudden now it's up in the air. Nobody really knows what he's going to do, okay? He's going around threatening people, other country leaders and stuff, and now Canada's starting to fight back now, and he's, that's being very unnerving to the business world, because Trudeau isn't going to just sit there and take it from him. Fuck no. What reason does he have to believe anything that Trump says? So, yeah. So you got shit going on. He hasn't even sworn in yet, and he's already creating international chaos. Okay. This is the guy that MAGA wants. The guy that they said would not bring about World War III, but Kamala would. This guy is already starting the preempt for World War III, and he ain't even president yet. And, I have to say, even though Biden's presidency is coming to a close, he's still president. Why doesn't he do something right now about Trump? The Supreme Court will already back him, whatever thing he wants to do, as an official act, right? I mean, if he wants to detain Trump in some fashion, or whatever, to shut him up or something, I mean, he's certainly within his rights to do so, because he's behind Trump's back, behind Biden's back, doing all this chaos. Okay? And everybody is like, who's going to stop this? Well, Biden's still president. He could try to do something about it. Instead, he's pardoning all these people and doing this and that. And, some people are upset that, at least about, a couple of people that he pardoned, sentences commuted and stuff like that. He's doing these things. And I think, like, when they talked about how, Biden could have done something and, to pressure the January 6th investigation to get it going, they could have got Trump, behind bars by now. But, we didn't see a whole lot of push there. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of stuff there. Whenever it surrounds Trump, it seems like, the devils are always protecting him, or something. And I don't know, what the hell protects this guy. But when you have a guy like that who seems like he can walk between the raindrops, you don't want that son of a bitch anywhere near anything powered. Okay, like a seat for the presidency. You don't want that guy there, because he can avoid all accountability. Why would we put somebody like that in power, who's very clever at managing to dodge bullets and get away with crimes, both civil crimes and national crimes, and he gets away with all these fucking things, because it seems like nobody really seems intent on actually going after this fucker, to make him answer for anything. And now that he's going to be president again, that's never going to happen for another 4 years. I mean, what do they expect? The people want to see some justice, and we're not getting it, and that makes people angry and pissed off. Okay, it makes us doubt the sincerity of our government, and the ability for it to uphold laws. The last thing right now that we need in this is that perception to continue to grow, right? Because that's how you create a revolution, all right, a civil war, is when people are starting to lose all confidence in the government can do anything, that it won't even uphold its own rules, okay? When they see that every day, and they put a guy in power who spent his life doing that shit, I mean, that's like, hey, guess what? America has no fucking rules anymore. It's open season for everybody. Okay? So, how are we supposed to look at that? Everybody says, oh, democracy's dead. I think a lot of things are dead. Not just democracy, but the justice system in this country is dead. Okay? It only prosecutes the small guy, the small crime guy. Anyone who doesn't have money enough to surround themselves with lawyers, they get away with everything. And they buy off the judges, they buy off the juries, they buy off the lawyers, they buy off the politicians. I mean, this is a country made for people with wealth and money. Anybody else living here, you're in the fucking way. You're in the way. You're in the fucking way. Okay? This is not your country. All right? This is gonna be a country only for the rich. That's it. So that's where we're headed. And you know, it's going to be a very dismal 4 years ahead of us. And you know, people like Mitch McConnell who are coming out now, way after the fact, you know, talking about Trump and, you know, how this is going to be bad and everything. You know, like that lady said, just sit down and shut up, okay? He never does anything if there's some kind of angle in it for him, okay? Mitch McConnell is I mean, he should be retired in a nursing home right now, not out giving speeches about Donald Trump, okay? In fact, the two of them ought to be in a fucking nursing home. One's shitting himself, the other one can't even, you know, stay aware of where he's at any given time, okay? So, you know, we got a lot of fucking problems now, more than just the thing about bathrooms and transsexuals and homosexuals and whatever the hell else you want to bring up. Those problems are nothing. Those are the kind of things you talk about when the country's working fine, okay? When you've got nothing to talk about or bitch about of the government, then you could start focusing on social issues, you know, and talking about things like that. But when the government is crashing and burning, everybody's looking the other way at what these two people are doing in their bedroom. Really? Everything over here is on fire, burning, you know, but no, what's going on behind the window over there in that person's house? That's the way Republicans take our eyes off the ball, okay? They create all that chaos over there, and then they direct our attention over there, okay? And people are dumb enough to fall for that all the time. They don't give a shit about transsexuals and that issue. It's just a fucking gaslighting thing, okay? They know people don't like it, so let's talk about it. Let's bring it up. Let's make it a big fucking issue. Oh, the kids are using litter boxes in school, and you know, you know, and transsexuals, you know, they're trying to spread their transsexualism around. You know, if you sit next to them and stuff, they manufacture this bullshit crisis, and everybody's at home eating that shit up, you know, like it's true. Like I said, in the background, the government is on fire. But in the foreground, they're standing in front of you, you know, talking about this is the important. Never mind that thing behind the curtain. This is what's going on, okay? They're really good at doing that. Misdirection, because they understand the American people and what we're more enlightened, more likely to listen to. You know, I think everybody in this country all agrees that the government needs work. Okay, but they don't want to talk about that because that would unify the country behind a singular thing, right? They don't want people talking about the same things on both sides of the political aisle. It's better that only one side talks about it, the other side they can control by talking about other things that annoys the shit out of them. Okay? That's how they divide. That's how they divide and conquer, my friends. That's the tactic, and it won't stop until people stop being victimized, victim to it, okay? And when you start guarding yourself against that bullshit, when a politician starts talking that crap, turn the channel, okay? Because that's exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to grab your attention away from what's really bothering this country, focus it on something else that you didn't even really know was there, and now you do, and now you're pissed, okay? So that's what they do, and that's got to stop. It's got to stop. Media's got to stop playing that fucking game too. All of media, Republican media, Democrat media, all the media. They need to stop that. Okay. And in the next part of this program, we're going to talk about something else right now that's grabbing people's attention, and you know I'm questioning things about that. So let's go to a commercial break, and then we'll come back and see this other part here.
This is me. This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
The Lincoln Project salutes Vice President Donald Trump. As Vice President, Trump will finally have the time to do the things that make him happiest. Talk about old movies, playing on his phone, admiring the assets of other men. Meanwhile, President Musk can get down to the business of running the country. We at the Lincoln Project are confident that Donald Trump understands his position. Elon is smarter, wealthier, more charismatic, has a far superior and more successful social media platform and company, is more successful with women, and a better dancer. As President Musk and his assistant J.D. Vance select appointees and write policies, we feel certain Trump will play his part because he's a good boy. Who's a good boy? Trump's a good boy.
So since I literally spend almost all day of my job talking to men, single men, married men, men who are unhappy in their relationships, I think I finally figured out that men are actually very simple, and this is how you can make a man happy, so he will never cheat on you and he will love you. All right, you guys ready? Number one, a man likes to feel useful to a woman. So if you're constantly saying that you're an independent girl, you don't need a man, as much as that's awesome, that actually turns men off a little bit. No husband wants to feel unneeded. So just making your man feel like he's useful, if that's saying, hey, can you help me bring the groceries in, even though you're totally capable of doing it yourself, or hey, can you put this painting up for me, I can't reach that high. Obviously, men know that you could do it yourself, but a lot of men they like to feel useful and needed, and it's not a terrible thing to just make your man feel like a man. Number two is men are natural problem solvers. So when you're coming to a man with your problems at night, you need to either specify and say, hey, I just need you to listen, or you need to be open to him helping you solve a problem. Most men get really frustrated and overprotective of their partners, and when they hear their partner, crying about something at work or upset about, whatever it is, their natural instinct is to want to help you and want to help you solve it. And honestly, if your man is not doing that, he's probably not that into you. So let a man help you solve your problems. And if not, just be very clear with him and say, I just want you to listen right now. Number three, and I know this might be super controversial and I might get canceled for this, but honestly, men are physical creatures and you do need to satisfy your man. I'm not saying as the relationship goes on and you're married for 10 years that you need to be doing it every day, but I would say at least once a week. And that means even doing it when you don't feel like it. Let's put it this way. If your man never told you, how beautiful you looked, or never, brought you flowers, or never, did all the things that us women like, do you think you would still be with him? It's the same for men. They are just physical beings, and you have to satisfy them, or you're gonna just lose the connection and they're gonna look elsewhere.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart. I believe in helping people in crisis, whether they are from Lebanon, Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, or any troubled area around the world. I ask you to join me in supporting the International Rescue Committee's life-changing work. The IRC is on the front lines of humanitarian crises, and IRC teams stay on the ground as long as they are needed, so displaced people can rebuild their lives. Your support today matters. It can provide medicine, emergency food, critical supplies, and many life-changing programs. It is a gift of hope when families need it most. I've seen the difference caring people like you can make. So please, if you can, make a gift right now.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back. Before we start with the other story here, this is kind of related to the story, but I bought this down at Dollar Tree for $5, and can't get it to hover. I think what it is just the switch here on that. Oh, right there. Yeah, I just got it, so I'm still. Yeah, you're supposed to put your hand under it, and it's supposed to hover, but I can't seem to get it to do that. I don't know why, but. It's got a lot of torque because, Christ, the wind can use it for a little fan. If I left it on, it would last about 15 minutes and then it would just die. The battery would die, so it don't last very long. But it's a pretty neat little toy. And there's a sensor there on, I don't know, because this thing is all black, so you can't really see it. But there's a little sensor right here that's supposed to tell it. It sticks out how far it is from the surface, but it doesn't seem... Like I've been trying, but the cat's afraid of it, and I don't want to do this in the house, but too cold outside right now. But anyway, this kind of, we're dovetailing this into what I'm going to be talking about, and that's drones. Okay, and I don't know if you've been watching a lot of news, but New Jersey and parts of the East Coast along that area of the country, the people have been bitching up a storm. They've been seeing drones flying around in the neighborhoods and over buildings and over military bases and over, you name it, everywhere, okay? And people have been recording them with their phones. And some people have called the police because these things are hovering over people's property, and it's become a big problem, and it's getting a lot of ire up, So let's go, and I have... two videos, one about the drones, the other one about State Representative Brian Burgeon from New Jersey, Republican, who was really pissed off at a briefing that he was at concerning the drones. So I'm going to put these two videos back to back. They're not long. And then we'll come back and talk about
new reports of drone sightings in our area, this time over Manhattan's east side. It comes as lawmakers continue to call on the federal government to take action. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis joins us live on the east side with more. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning, Pedro. Yesterday, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, did put out a statement saying that there is no threat to national security, but still so many questions unanswered regarding these reported drone sightings. And one here last night on the east side, actually earlier this morning, just after midnight. Take a look at the NYPD aviation unit helicopter over the East River. in the area of the United Nations responding to a report of a possible drone. The helicopter was up there for several minutes, went from the east side to the west side, did not find anything. Now, there have been these sightings not only nationally, over 3,000 of them, but a lot of them up and down the East Coast, particularly in central New Jersey, but up to Staten Island, Rockland County. The question is, are people actually seeing drones at night or other aircraft? There's concern about copycat activity. But authorities, they are investigating it and taking it seriously, as you can hear from this NYPD chatter.
Also getting a drone sighting at East 42nd Street and FDR.
Aviation 7C10. We were just flying that vicinity. Shorelines for east side and the west side of the river. We got negative results.
And so nothing found last night. Again, the FBI says that there is no known threat to national security, but they are accepting tips from the public and asking folks to upload photos and videos of suspicious activity. And we're live on the east side. Marcus Solis, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, so you're here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything, okay? It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something, I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? You know, didn't want to follow it because you didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
Do they have any idea where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know. But they don't. This is a complete lack of effort, in my opinion, on trying to figure this out. This is not about ability. We have the technology. We have the people. We have the training. We have the resources. We have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean,
why?
I don't know. They should be saying, you know what they should have done today with productive use of our time if they didn't know anything? Come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead it was just excuse after excuse and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing. When I walked in here today, I was actually pretty calm. I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx, trying to figure it out. But instead, I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
Wow, that's truly upsetting.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. But this has been going on for quite a while, and it seems like it's getting more attention now, and I have to wonder about that. But here's the thing, okay? They're saying the FBI and Homeland Security are investigating, okay? They're telling people this. They're also telling people, don't worry about it. They're no threat. Well, let me tell you something. We know what these drones can do because they got toys for kids to play with that are drones, and some of them have little cameras on them so they can take pictures. Some of them, I mean, they're depending on how much money you want to spend. They can be big ones or they can be tiny ones. So like that little one I got there for $5. They have all kinds of different types of drones. So we're not like ignorant about what they can do. We also know that drones can be used in war because Ukraine has them, Russia has them. They've been using them to shoot each other and stuff like that. Okay, so we know the capability of these drones. We don't know, what pisses people off is we don't know who's controlling these things and why they're there. Because before, there weren't any drones around at night, and all of a sudden now there are. So somebody is doing this. Now, it ain't a whole bunch of kids out playing with drones, because some of these drones look pretty big, which means, you know, they're not your average Toys R Us kind of fucking drone. All right, so, but then they're trying to say, well, your guys are seeing helicopters. Well, let me tell you something. The sound of a drone, the little propellers, and the sound of a helicopter are two different things. You can tell the sound of a helicopter because it's got a deep thump with the props that is going. These drones, the little things are smaller and they make a higher pitched sound. Okay, so you can tell the difference between the sound of a drone and the sound of a helicopter. All right, and some of these drones that they're seeing are not. They don't have the lights on them that they're supposed to have. Okay, which means they could be created, somebody building these things or something, which means they're not following FAA guidelines if they're using these at night, okay, because they don't have the running lights on them they're supposed to have. Okay, some of these things, you know, they're flying over people's homes, which means, you know, you're not standing on property, but you're flying in the vicinity of their property, which still makes it, you know, illegal in my mind. You know, if there was a drone sitting outside my window here, watching everything I'm doing, I have a right to call the police about that, and they have a right to take it down. Okay? If I had a house, if I owned a home, same fucking thing. If there's a drone hovering over my property, okay, and I don't know who is it, I'm calling the police. They'll come and get it, you know, or take it down. It's on my property. Okay? Nobody has any right to invade someone's, especially a military base, because they've been seeing those over there. Nobody has any right to be in other people's airspace, as it were, okay? You can fly these things at parks or in your own backyard or whatever it is that you want to do with them, but you can't be, you know, in other people's yards with it. You can't have these other ones that go up so high they're in the way of small planes or helicopters, because that crash, right? So if there's no flight plan made with, I guess with the FAA about, you know, you're going to be flying these things around, if you don't tell anybody that these things are out there, no one knows they're there, okay? I mean, imagine flying these things at an airport, for Christ's sake. I mean, like here at Bangor Airport, you know, one of them fucking drones gets sucked up into the engine, and Christ, the whole goddamn plane would come down. But that's what I'm talking about. They say, oh, don't worry about it. We do worry about it because there is a potential for hazards there. There's a potential for danger. That if these things are being piloted by kids or idiots or something like that, how do we know that they're not trying to do something nefarious with the damn thing, okay? And it's people that, you know, that build these fucking drones at home, okay, and I know a couple of people that do that. They make up and you could see them on YouTube if you're really interested. People build their own drones, and they can do all kinds of different things, right? But you don't know, because at night you can't see the drone and what it might be carrying. If it's got a camera or some kind of a rocket or some damn thing like that. You don't know. You just don't know. And it's like guns flying around in the air. Okay? But they're out there telling people, don't worry about it. We're investigating. Well, I'll tell you how you can speed up the investigation awful damn quick. Okay? And I know people aren't going to like it when I say this, but it really is the most obvious solution here. If you want to find out who's behind this thing, when you see one of these drones over your property, okay, take it down with a gun, or if you can build something that interrupts the signal between the drone and whoever's controlling it, bring it down. And if enough people do that, eventually somebody's going to come out and say, "Stop it, goddammit, you're destroying our property." You know, then you're going to know who's behind. Then you'll know who's behind it, right? Because, you know, if it is the government, right, then they're probably spending a lot of money making these things. And if they're out there playing games with us and they're not telling us that they belong to them, then we're within our rights to protect our own. They can't prosecute you, okay, because you took down one of their drones if no one's ever telling anybody that these are ours, okay? It's different if you're shooting at something that has a label on it that says U.S. government, okay? Then you know you're fucked. But if the government's not admitting that those are theirs, and the FBI can't get the answer from the government, then, hey, they're anybody's thing. They could belong to a kid. They could belong to anybody. You're even a terrorist, for Christ's sake. So what I'm saying is that if you see these damn things and it looks like, you know, they're on your property or something like that, and I'm telling this to the people down there in New Jersey or wherever these things are flying around, okay? And even the police. If you think these things are getting too damn nosy and, you know, are flying and hovering and over, shoot it down. There's nobody flying the damn thing, right? It's remote control. It's just a fucking big toy. Shoot it down. And if you knock down enough of these damn things, somebody's going to come out with a press conference and telling people to stop shooting at the drones. Then you're going to know, okay, now we know who's putting these things out there because they're coming out and bitching, okay? Now we'll know. And everyone who's complaining will know where to go to get answers from. They won't be able to deny it because why would they come out and bitch about the drones being shot down, okay? You know? So that's how you get the truth out of them. Instead of getting your representative at meetings with people that aren't talking and answering questions, instead of doing that, okay? Instead of wasting your time getting everybody in an uproar, because that's what this is building up to. Because, you know, I'm sure that what I just told you, probably other people have thought the same thing already, and it's only a matter of time before somebody starts taking pot shots at these damn things, which is dangerous, right? Because the bullet's got to land somewhere. So we don't want, you know, people doing it. But, you know, if someone's got a scope or a sniper rifle with night vision on it or something, you know, hey, you know, and they just wait till the thing stops and hovers, that's, you know, free game, okay? Especially if it's over your property. Or especially on the military. I can't believe the military won't shoot these things down if they see it and they don't know who that belongs to, okay? But if they're not doing anything about it, then that kind of, question marks, could this be government? Well, we'd know if they'd say it, if it belongs to the military. Then if they tell us that this is a military thing we're doing here, okay. So the next question is, why? What are you doing? What are you gearing up for? You know, why are you pestering people at all hours of the night with these goddamn things? Okay? You know, because people are worried. Because we see on the news where, you know, Russia and Ukraine are fighting. They're using drones against each other. So we know these things can be dangerous. They can be armed. They can do damage. I mean, well, they talked about how, what was it, a drone had, I think it was in Russia, a hotel in Russia, was hit by a drone from Ukraine, you know, did considerable damage to that hotel. So we know these things are pretty, can be pretty, you know, dangerous, whoever made it, you know. Hold on a second here. Okay, sorry for the interruption here. So yeah, these drones, if they are so important to whoever has them, if people start disrupting them in some fashion, you don't have to shoot them down, but if you're clever enough and you know how to jam a frequency, if it's close enough to you, you could probably get away with it, and it'll fall down. But if you can do that and enough people do it, somebody's going to come out and bitch. Okay? You don't destroy, you know, things like that and nobody says anything. Okay? So that's my recommendation. And if people don't like that idea that, you know, you could be destroying government, I could be, but how do I know? You know, how do I know it's not terrorism? Or how do I know it's not some fucking kid with a toy? You know, if I know it's a government thing, I won't do anything. But if they won't tell even people in the government that these things belong to them, then hey, how can you fault me for protecting my own property? You know, and how can you fault the military, you know, these bases for trying to knock them down if they see them flying over their bases? You know, it's that simple, really. They got no case. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, one of those things where, you know, if they're trying to be open about it, then they wouldn't be flying them around at night. B, they would tell people honestly, you know, what these things are for, what they're doing with them, okay? And they would just come out and tell you, and people would know. But you know, it is a distraction at the same time from things that, you know, really should be on people's minds more than this. But because I see this as a quick fix. This drone thing, it could be solved very quickly. Simply by destroying the drones that you see, someone will come out and bitch about it, and like I said, they'll reveal themselves. But this, like I said, this, with everything going on in Washington, D.C., and with Trump and all this other crap, the political things and the anxiety that's creating, and then you have this coming out, and now the media seems to be drawing your attention to the drone thing. It's like, is this really a thing, or is this somebody trying to create a crisis, okay, to distract us from what's going to be coming, okay? And here's the thing. Are they going to be able to keep this going for 4 years, okay? Is this drone thing just going to become the focus of the news for the next 4 years? You know, no. They'll have to keep coming up with something new every fucking few months, because people are going to get sick and tired of this story if it doesn't go anywhere, right? But like I said, you can blow this fucking story out of the newspaper here simply by doing what I suggested, and that's to go after the drones, okay? Because eventually, if they are government property, then the government will tell people to stop it, okay? And if they're not government property and nobody says anything, then hey, it's free game, people. Go and take these fuckers down any way you can, okay? Because hey, you're not going to get in trouble because we don't know who they belong to, and hey, they're invading my privacy. They're invading my property. They shouldn't be here on my fucking yard. You know, they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be flying around over my house. They shouldn't be doing any of that shit, okay? You don't have any right. It's like, even if a helicopter was constantly hovering over your house, wouldn't that piss you off? Okay? It's like, why are you there? What are you doing? Same fucking thing. You know, the only thing is you wouldn't shoot at a helicopter because there's people in it, right? Somebody's piloting the thing. But these drones are just drones. They're not, they're toys, essentially. So, you know, you're not hurting anybody if you take one of them things down that's over your yard or something like that. So people, keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. And like I said, if you can create something that will create a signal interference with it, that would even be better, because then you wouldn't have to get a gun, you know, especially for people who can't get them. You know, find a way to disrupt the signal. Hell, even this little thing here, you know, imagine it would be easy to disrupt the signal to that, but I'm sure these drones over there are more sophisticated. But, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot, because I remember, you know, when Radio Shack was around, people could build things that could interrupt cable, you know, television, stuff like that. They'd turn the switch and you get static. You know, I mean, for some people, my father would be good at making something like that, because he, you know, if he was still around, I'm sure he could have created some box or something that he, you know, because he used to make shit like that all the time to fuck with people and things. I'm sure he could have come up with something that would disrupt, you know, a signal between the drone and who's piloting it, or, you know, it's not that difficult. You've got to know something about electronics a little bit, but it probably wouldn't be that difficult. So, you know, it's just an idea if people are really wanting to know what, I mean, if you're not getting anywhere by calling your cops, or calling your representatives, or calling the FBI, or calling whoever you're calling, okay, to let people know that, hey, there's this shit going on, do something about it. And if they ain't doing anything about it, and nobody's answering any questions to the press or to the police or whoever, you know, hey, yeah, they're basically saying the problem's in your laps, people. You know, deal with it as how you see fit. Because look, you call the police, by the time the police get there, the drone's gone, right? It's almost like they know you called somebody. So, you see what I'm saying? It's hard for them to get these things, because they're tiny. You can't really see them. You don't know where they're going, okay, because someone's controlling it, and they probably know how to keep it hidden until they want it out. So, you know, it's really stupid. But like I said, the media is talking about that, and it seems like a lot of attention's being given to it, because on YouTube there's a whole bunch of news, you know, short news clips and interviews and things like that, where people are trying to get to the bottom of it. You know, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And you saw, you know, Brian Burgeon there basically walking out of a goddamn briefing because they're not answering questions. They're just, giving everybody a lip service to the problem. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is our scripted response to this, and I'm not taking any questions, and that's it, the end. He's like, fuck that. I didn't come all the way over here just to hear that. I could have turned the TV on and watched it. I could have turned the radio on and heard it. It's like, no, if this is the way you're going to treat us with this, then basically you're throwing the problem back in our lap and saying, I don't know what to do. You say, I don't know what to do. It's not my problem. We don't know what's going on. Homeland Security is investigating. FBI is investigating it. Nobody knows. Okay, well, then we'll help you find out. We'll help you. We'll know who it is, right? So we'll start bringing some of these fuckers down. Okay, we'll take a look at them and see if there's any ID on them, or if it says U.S. government, or if it says nobody, or because we don't need this aggravation. Nobody does, okay? I don't give a fuck what it is out there. People have got a lot of worries right now because of Trump getting into the office here in a couple, 2-3 weeks here. People are already on their nerves. We've got a guy that shot a CEO, for Christ's sake. That, things that pissed him off about the whole idea of a for-profit healthcare system. People are out on the end of their fucking rope. The final straw, as it might be coming, I don't know. This could be the final. Why would you want to provoke the public into doing something like this, by getting them so riled up that they're going to start taking shots at these things? Why are you trying to provoke the people doing that, okay? Why? If the government is involved in that, why are you agitating the situation that's already at the top? I mean, are you trying to provoke a fight? Are you egging the people on so they'll revolt? I mean, what are you trying to do, whoever this is? Okay, what are you trying to do with all these fucking drones? Because the last thing this country needs right now on a boiling pot of water is more fire. Okay, because the damn lid on that pot's going to blow off at any moment here. And it won't take a whole lot to do it either. Remember I was telling you about how everybody's got a breaking point? Well, when you look at that on the societal scale, that too has a breaking point. There's only so much shit the whole society can take before a spark is given and it goes around the country like wildfire. These are not the times to be fucking around with people, okay? So, anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great Sunday and the rest of the week. So subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for any health-related matters. When you're shopping, watch out for people because they're everywhere. All right? Treat each other kindly. I know it's difficult when you're standing in line in a store, especially when they're understaffed, which is everywhere these days. Patience. Patience is something you're going to have to work on. It's difficult, but it can be done. I was probably one of the most impatient people there ever was. But after having been in the service, I learned patience. Because everything in the military is hurry up and wait. So I learned patience, and it helps. Okay, it helps when you can deal with it. So I'll talk to you guys later. So take care.